Oftentimes, my clients ask me, if you weren't living here, where would you move to in Hamilton? And what are the best neighborhoods for me to move to? And to be honest, my answer is going to vary depending on who you are and what you're looking for. So in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you the best neighborhoods in Hamilton. If you're a young couple looking for a newer move-in ready townhome, a family with young kids looking for an established neighborhood, or a first-time homebuyer looking for their first detached home, to a young professional looking for a condo with easy access to Toronto. Well, in today's video, I'm going to be sharing my top 3 recommendations for each of these type of clients that I help on a regular basis with. Now, of course, everyone is going to have their own individual specifics that they're looking for, but in today's video, we're just going to be creating some general specifics that usually my clients that fit into one of these 4 buckets is usually looking for. So let's start us off with the first one, which is usually my clients that are young professionals or a young family looking for that newer townhome and the areas I would recommend. So usually they're looking for 3 beds, 2 baths, usually something around that $750 to $1 million, have been pre-approved and want something that is a bit more space. Usually they're my clients that are relocating out of Toronto, want a bit more of a suburban lifestyle, but still want some less easier maintenance and not have a home that is old. Now, there's 3 areas that I'd really recommend you look into. So number 1 would be Waterdown. You're going to find a lot of new development here. It's probably the second amount of most options you're going to choose from in terms of newer townhomes really built in the last 15 years. You have great shopping options and perhaps the easiest commute into Toronto, as you're just a short drive away from Aldershot Go, just down Waterdown Road. And this one here is one of the most common GO train stations my clients who relocate to Hamilton drive to because of the ample parking that it offers and the regular train time slots. So number 1 is definitely Waterdown. They also have a nice little local shops like Copper Kettle Cafe that you can get some apple strudels, and they love that there. However, on the flip side, one of the things my clients that are usually the younger couples coming from, let's say, Toronto, find about Waterdown is it definitely gives a bit more smaller town vibe because it's a bit more isolated compared to the rest of Hamilton. So if that's the case for you, you're looking for something with a bit more of a city vibe, but still offers lots of different newer townhome options to choose from, the next area I'd recommend for you would be the Stony Creek Mountain. So again, really in the last 10-15 years, this area here has really blown up. You'll find a few original homes in the 60s and 70s, some in the 90s and 2000s, but a lot really, we'll call it like 2015 to 2020 to even 2025, they're continuing to build in this area here. Now here, you're again a lot more connected to Hamilton, both in terms of public transit, in terms of the amount of shopping options, as you have Eastgate Square Mall down in central Stony Creek, to Limeridge Mall in the Hamilton Mountain, plus 2 large plazas also on Stony Creek to enjoy. Then in terms of like the commute into Toronto, if you're going to be in on a regular basis, shortly in 2025, they're going to be opening up Confederation Go, which will be a new GO train station in Stony Creek. So it's going to be about a 10-15 minute drive from the Stony Creek Mountain. And this is where you'll be able to hop on the GO train and get to Toronto about in an hour. And then you also get easy access to the Red Hill Valley right here to jump on the QEW and drive to Toronto also. Now, if you're looking for the most affordable area that has the newer townhomes, that's going to be Mount Hope in Binbrook. So Binbrook's about a 10-minute drive just outside of the Stony Creek Mountain. Mount Hope is more in the central part of the Hamilton Mountain, just 5 minutes down Upper James Street. And both of these areas here are going to find a lot of newer townhome options to choose from. However, while you are going to get a slightly larger townhome here, the downside is it's a very small town feel compared to even that of Waterdown. But 2 is it is going to add a decent amount of commute time. It's going to be an extra additional 10 minutes from just the Stony Creek Mountain, or additional 5 minutes if you're living on the Hamilton Mountain. So those were the 3 areas I'd recommend if you're looking for a newer townhome in Hamilton. Now, of course, there's other smaller pockets that you might want to consider in Ancaster, the Hamilton Mountain, or out in Stony Creek, like in Winona, or some small pockets on the waterfront. So if you're interested in getting my recommendations based on what you're looking for, send me and my team a message today, as if you're new here and will learn everything about what it's like living in Hamilton. My name is Matthew, the founding realtor of the Living in Hamilton channel and team, and for the past couple of years been helping people just like yourself relocate here and buy a home, and have been absolutely loving it. So if you are thinking about making the move to Hamilton or one of the surrounding cities and you're 60 days out or 6 months out, send me and my my team a message today. But now let's discuss the next best neighborhoods in Hamilton. And these ones I would recommend for that young family looking for that established neighborhood, usually looking for 4+ beds, 2+ bathrooms, usually in the low millions. So we'll give the budget of $1 million to $1.5 million. And the areas I'd recommend first to take a look at would be Ancaster. Now in Ancaster, you're gonna find 3 different detached home styles. The first one is gonna be those 2-story homes really in the Meadowlands neighborhood that were really built, we'll call it like early 2000s up until 2020. And they're gonna all have a consistent look and feel and usually offer a good size square footage on the inside, usually above 2,000 square feet with at least a single car, if not double car attached garage. However, with that said, are gonna be on a slightly smaller lot. And then you'll find bungalows that are gonna be sitting on a larger size lot. And because of that larger size lot, you're also gonna be finding a lot of custom built homes. Now these start to get on the more expensive side here, but you can find some great options under $1.5 million, depending on what you're looking for in Ancaster. Now, with that said, the biggest downside of Ancaster is this is the most expensive area to buy real estate in all of Hamilton. So that's something to keep in mind. But the things that Ancaster has when you're living here, it has fantastic shopping options as you have the Meadowlands Shopping Plaza, as well as the Ancaster Smart Center, and then a great Ancaster downtown with some local gems to explore, 2 fantastic schools that you can find on the Fraser Institute rankings with a lot of different neighborhood parks, usually right beside those schools there, that are easily within walking distance to great waterfalls like the Tiffany Falls. Then the second area I'd recommend you take a look into if you're looking for those established neighborhoods would be the Hamilton Mountain. Now, if you have a budget of over $1 million, you're really going to be looking on the south end of the Hamilton Mountain. Here, the homes were usually built a little bit more new. Now, when I say new, it's more like instead of like the early 1920s on the very north end of the Hamilton Mountain to like the 40s, 50s, and 60s, you're going to be more in, we'll call it like the 80s, but really the 90s, early 2000s, and a little bit into the 2020s on the south end of the Hamilton Mountain. Now here, in terms of the value, your dollar is going to stretch a little bit further on the Hamilton Mountain. So you can definitely get a larger home here compared to what you can find in Ancaster. You still have lots of great shopping options, fantastic schools. As when I was doing the school ranking for one of my videos where I did the 5-year average based on the Fraser Institute rankings, both Ancaster, the Mountain, and the next area I recommend were all in the areas that had the best schools in Hamilton. Now, of course, if you want to learn more about these schools, I'll leave a link down below for the Fraser Institute rankings. Those take the Ontario Standardized Test and put it in grade 3, 6, and 9 so that you get an index out of 10, and then they have those rankings there. So I'll leave a link. Now, with that said, oftentimes, if your kids are young, you don't want to be focusing on one school individually, as the indexes can really fluctuate year to year. Rather, instead, you want to be staying in the areas that just overall have a great school presence. Then the next area I'd recommend for you would be the Stony Creek area. Now, you have the Stony Creek Mountain, again, that has some great detached home options, a lot of newer detached home options, some built in the 60s and 90s as well. But the area I'd really recommend for you, if you're looking for established neighborhoods, is really like Central Stony Creek. You're going to have some great options to choose from. It's going to be more of those bungalows, back splits, side splits. You have great easy access to the QEW, fantastic shopping options. And then if you don't mind being a bit further out, Winona is another great option, more built in the early 2000s. You have a huge shopping plaza there with another Costco at the Winona Crossing. But here you are a bit further out. So if you are going to be coming into the GT on a regular basis, that's one of the things that does deter my clients from going all the way out to Winona. But Central Stony Creek is still a fantastic option for you to consider. So now that you've learned the top 3 neighborhoods for those families looking for an established neighborhood, let's talk about the areas I would recommend for those first-time home buyers looking for that detached home. They don't want to pay the condo fees. You want a bit more space, usually at least 3 beds, 1+ bathrooms with a yard and some privacy, and a possibility to house hack is the other thing my clients have been absolutely loving, to help pay for the mortgage, or eventually when you move out, you can have it as an investment property. And usually my first-time home buyer clients are usually looking between that $500,000 and $750,000 mark. So with all that in mind, the number one area I'd recommend for you would be the Hamilton Mountain. Now, when you're looking on the Hamilton Mountain, you're going to find a lot of different detached home options here, really on the north end and central part of the Hamilton Mountain. great shopping options like we discussed with Lime Ridge Mall. You'll also find lots of shopping options on Upper James as well to choose from, and then just a bunch of smaller plazas throughout. However, the Hamilton Mountain is definitely more of a suburban feel. You're gonna find a lot of bungalows, side splits, back splits here, especially on that north end. And if you are looking for that house hacking, this could be a fantastic area as well, especially the two areas I'd really look around if you want to do that house hack, whether if it's just to help supplement the mortgage payments, or also when you move out to have an investment property, or maybe the in-laws are staying with you, or whatever the case may be. If you're looking for more of that investment purposes, I'd say number one, around the hospitals, number two, around Mohawk College, or also McMaster, but McMaster's down in the west part of Hamilton. So Mohawk College for the Hamilton Mountain. And these areas are going to offer great opportunities, especially in that price point of $500 to about $750,000. Now, the other area I'd recommend if you are looking for a bit more of that city vibe, that more historic vibe, that walkability, great public transit, a bit bigger size of the home as well in general, would be a central Hamilton, as this is the most affordable area in Hamilton. And there are some fantastic neighborhoods. This is where I actually personally live, and I absolutely love it. I'm right tucked against the escarpment, and you can find some huge homes here that you would only find about half the size on the Hamilton Mountain. That's one of the reasons why a lot of my friends love living in central Hamilton, but also the fantastic local gems as this here, other than like, I guess, Toronto, maybe Mississauga, I think has the best food to choose from. And if you've watched any of my videos, you know all the local gems that I enjoy. So would highly recommend living in central Hamilton, but you need to know the right area. So if you want to learn what areas I'd recommend for you based on your specific criteria of central Hamilton, send me and my team a message today. I'd be happy to help you out. But the third area you might want to consider is like the East Hamilton. Now, this is going to be a little bit smaller home, bit bigger size lots, and it's more on the east side of Hamilton versus like downtown central Hamilton, where you have those classic red brick homes. Here, it's going to be more of those bungalows, single story homes, 1.5 story homes. However, your lot size is going to be a bit bigger as well to choose from. It also gives you a bit more of that suburban vibe. So lots of different options for first time home buyers. And then if you are a young professional looking for that condo and want something that has great public transit, good local gems, the number one area, of course, first and foremost would be downtown Hamilton. Here has the best local gems, the best public transit, the most amount of condo options to choose from both older buildings where you have more square footage, but a slightly higher condo fee, to newer buildings where they're a bit smaller, more updated amenities, but smaller condo fees. And of course, everything's just newer as well and more updated. Then this is definitely the area for you. The other area I'd recommend, especially if you're a young professional, you're going to be commuting into Toronto, would be Waterdown. You have a couple of different buildings, but the most notable building that you'll notice when searching in Waterdown would be Trent. It's like a 3-tower building and has lots of great options to choose from. And you're basically right in Burlington as well. So it's a great option. And then the third area I'd recommend for you would be Stony Creek, especially if you're looking for those waterfront condos, as this is the best area for that to enjoy. And then I guess one quick notable one I'll mention is you'll find some good options for condos in downtown Dundas. However, they are going to be a bit more expensive, but if you can afford this area, the walkability that downtown Dundas and the local shops that it offers you is absolutely fantastic. So if you want to learn more about the different pros and cons of each one of these communities, from Stony Creek, Ancaster, Dundas, Waterdown, the central part of Hamilton, or the Hamilton Mountain, that's the next video I'd recommend you go take a look at. So you can find that video right here. Otherwise, I hope you have a great day.